Imagine the scene. Your beloved football club, the pride of your city, is gearing up for a new season. The fans are buzzing with hope after a hard-fought campaign that saw the team survive against the odds. There is optimism in the air, a sense that anything is possible. Then, without warning, calamity strikes. The club's brightest star, the player you believed would lead your side to glory, is abruptly snatched away by a rival with deeper pockets, grander ambitions, and the cruel efficiency to make it happen. The supporters are left reeling. Meanwhile, that rival parades their new signing beneath the blinding stadium lights, promising a future of attacking flair and silverware. This is not a hypothetical. This is the reality now facing Nottingham Forest. And the aftershocks of this bombshell could ripple across the Premier League for years to come. The catalyst for this drama? Tottenham Hotspur, a club steeped in history and determined to end a trophy drought stretching back to 2008, have triggered the release clause of Morgan Gibbs-White, Nottingham Forest's creative linchpin. The price? £60 million. The timing? Sudden, decisive, and devastating for Forest's plans. In a matter of days, a player earmarked as the beating heart of Forest's future project is gone, bound for North London and the promise of Champions League football. Let us rewind to understand why this transfer has sent shockwaves through English football. Nottingham Forest are not just any club. Once, under the legendary Brian Clough, they achieved the impossible back-to-back European Cups in the late 1970s and early 1980s. That golden age faded, replaced by decades of struggle, relegation, and even a spell in the third tier. But in 2022, Forest clawed their way back to the Premier League, fueled by the vision and investment of owner Evangelos Marinakis. Since then, Marinakis has invested well over £200 million, assembling a squad from every corner of Europe, determined to reawaken Forest's sleeping giant. Morgan Gibbs-White was the crown jewel of this renaissance. Signed for a hefty fee, his arrival was met with anticipation, and last season he delivered in spectacular fashion. He was the architect of Forest's attacks, conjuring 92 goal-scoring opportunities for teammates, 24 more than any other player at the club. His pass completion rate in the final third stood at an impressive 78.4%, ranking him in the top 5th among Premier League attacking midfielders. For a team that averaged just 42% possession, among the lowest in the division, Gibbs-White became indispensable. Whenever Forest surged forward, he was the conductor, dictating tempo and finding pockets of space. Behind the scenes, however, the tectonic plates of football business were shifting. Tottenham Hotspur, under the new stewardship of Thomas Frank, saw an opening. Frank, renowned for his tactical intelligence and talent development, recognized that creativity was Tottenham's missing ingredient. In a display of modern football's relentless pace, Frank secured a verbal agreement with Gibbs-White after only 2 phone calls, a testament to his persuasive powers and Tottenham's allure as a club hungry for European glory. When the release clause was triggered, events moved with astonishing speed. Within 48 hours, Gibbs-White was a Tottenham player. The reaction has been electric. Jamie Carragher, the no-nonsense Liverpool legend, declared, "Gibbs-White has the potential to be a game-changer for Spurs, but Frank needs to build the team around him." Gary Neville, another Premier League icon, added, "Tottenham's midfield has lacked creativity for too long. Gibbs-White brings that in spades." Football insiders like David Ornstein have marveled at the speed and decisiveness of the deal, a sign that Tottenham are no longer content with half measures. For Nottingham Forest, the blow is immense. Their net spend in just 2 years since promotion stands at around £250 million. A staggering figure for a club still fighting to establish itself. Gibbs-White's departure rips apart Forest's tactical plans and raises uncomfortable questions about their financial sustainability. Alan Shearer, England's record Premier League scorer, warned, "Forest are in danger of becoming a selling club if they cannot hold on to their key players." It is a dilemma with no easy answers. On one hand, the £60 million windfall could be transformative, allowing Forest to make several signings or stabilize their finances. On the other, it shatters continuity, undermining the vision that Marinakis and his team have painstakingly developed. Since their promotion, Forest have cycled through managers and players at a dizzying pace. This upheaval threatens to undo the progress made both on and off the pitch. Meanwhile, Tottenham's intentions are clear. Their annual wage bill now hovers around £120 million, reflecting a determination to compete with England's elite. Under chairman Daniel Levy, a man famous for his cautious approach, The club has gradually shifted toward greater ambition, especially after moving into a state-of-the-art stadium. Signing Gibbs-White is a statement. Tottenham are ready to invest in proven Premier League talent, aiming for both domestic and European success. Tottenham's last major trophy was the League Cup in 2008-17, long years ago. Their fans are hungry for silverware and, since the departure of Christian Eriksen, have keenly felt the absence of a creative spark in midfield. The arrival of Thomas Frank and signings like Gibbs-White and potentially Mohamed Kudus reflect a new era. Under previous manager Ange Postecoglou, Tottenham averaged just under 2 goals per game, but often struggled against organized defenses. The expectation is that Gibbs-White's ingenuity will break this pattern, offering vision and incisiveness in the most critical moments. The story, however, extends far beyond Nottingham and North London. Manchester City, the reigning Premier League champions and one of the richest clubs on the planet, were also in the hunt. ESPN's Gabriele Marcotti noted, Manchester City's interest confirms Gibbs-White is a player destined for the very top. City were reportedly ready to match any offer, underscoring Gibbs-White's value. Yet, he chose Tottenham, a testament to the project Thomas Frank is building, and the appeal of being a central figure rather than one of many superstars. For Forest fans, the loss stings even more, knowing their star rejected the riches of Manchester to join a direct rival. The £60 million received could be a blessing or a curse. Mark Lawrenson, a respected BBC pundit, cautioned, Forest need to reinvest wisely to avoid a relegation battle next season. With their creative heartbeat gone. Remember, Gibbs-White created 24 more chances than any other Forest player. There is a real risk of sliding back into the relegation mire if replacements fall short. To grasp the gravity of this, consider Forest's playing style. Their average possession rate last season was just 42%, among the division's lowest. This was not just a tactical quirk, but a reflection of a system built on swift counterattacks and moments of individual brilliance. With Gibbs-White gone, the whole approach is threatened. Unless Forest can unearth a player of similar skill and vision, their possession numbers and, crucially, their points tally could nosedive. There are precedents for this scenario. Think of Southampton, a club that built a reputation for developing stars, Sadio Mane, Virgil van Dijk, only to see them poached by bigger rivals like Liverpool. While the sales-funded squad rebuilds, the club's fortunes eventually declined, culminating in relegation. Leicester City, after their fairy-tale title win, sold N'Golo Kante and Riyad Mahrez, managing to remain competitive for a while, but ultimately struggling to replace that lost quality. Nottingham Forest now stand at a similar crossroads. Will they reinvest the Gibbs-White windfall to create a stronger, more balanced squad, or will they be caught in a cycle of selling and rebuilding, unable to establish lasting stability? The club's recruitment team faces a stern test. Rumors are swirling about potential replacements, including James McAtee, valued at around £15 million, a sum far below the market value of Gibbs-White. But can a single player fill the creative void left by someone rated at £40 million or more? History suggests that replacing a player of Gibbs-White's influence is rarely straightforward. On the other side, Tottenham's gamble is not without peril. Integrating a marquee signing into a squad with high expectations is always challenging. If Gibbs-White adapts quickly, he could be the catalyst for a deep Champions League run and potentially end Tottenham's long wait for trophies. If he struggles, whether due to pressure or tactical misfit, Tottenham may find themselves having spent vast sums for little reward. Other consequences loom as well. Gibbs-White's move could reshape his international prospects. Should he thrive at Tottenham, he would likely cement his place in the England squad for the next World Cup, boosting his market value and attracting interest from Europe's giants. Conversely, a disappointing season could see his star fade, limiting his opportunities for club and country. The role of agents and contract structures cannot be overlooked in modern football. Release clauses, once rare in the English game, are now commonplace, offering players a route out and clubs a measure of financial security. In this saga, Tottenham's close relationship with Gibbs-White's representatives was crucial. For smaller clubs like Forest, the lesson is clear. Safeguarding key assets with smart contracts, planning for all eventualities, and maintaining a strong scouting network are essential for survival. From a business perspective, Forest's situation is a cautionary tale. Hundreds of millions spent on transfers and wages offer no guarantees. The loss of a single pivotal player, particularly one around whom tactics and strategies are built, can upend years of meticulous planning. For investors and owners, the modern game's volatility demands not just footballing acumen, but expertise in contract law, market analysis, and relationship management. Looking ahead, multiple scenarios could unfold if Forest reinvests shrewdly, spreading the Gibbs-White money across several astute signings. They could emerge more balanced, resilient, and better equipped for Premier League survival. But if they panic or chase quick fixes, overpaying for average players or neglecting squad weaknesses, they risk being drawn into a relegation scrap, erasing recent progress. For Tottenham, the stakes could not be higher. A successful Champions League campaign, powered by Gibbs-White and potentially Kudus, would boost the club's profile and finances, making it easier to lure elite talent. Failure to progress beyond the group stage, however, would raise awkward questions about team quality and Frank's tactical nous. The coming season may well be the most pivotal in both clubs' recent histories. This saga also reveals much about the economics of modern football. Gone are the days when a club could hold on to its stars for a decade or more. The power of agents, the ambitions of players, and the financial muscle of superclubs mean even the most historic clubs are vulnerable to sudden, destabilizing exits. For fans, it is a harsh reality. Today's heroes can vanish tomorrow, sometimes with only hours' notice. Is there a way forward? The evidence suggests that clubs who plan meticulously, invest in their scouting departments, and maintain a clear footballing philosophy are best equipped to weather the storms of high player turnover. Brentford, under Thomas Frank himself, have shown how data-driven recruitment and a long-term mindset can keep a club competitive in the Premier League, even on a modest budget. Their ability to unearth hidden gems, sell at the right time, and reinvest wisely has made them a model for sustainable growth. Perhaps this is the path Nottingham Forest must now chart. Rather than pursuing expensive short-term signings, they might focus on sustainable development, identifying undervalued talent, nurturing youth prospects, and forging a cohesive identity that outlasts any single transfer. Of course, this is easier said than done, especially in a league as unforgiving as the Premier League, where a handful of poor results can trigger panic and instability. It is also worth considering the psychological impact of such high-profile departures. For Forest's dressing room, losing a figure as influential as Gibbs-White can be demoralizing. The leadership group, coaching staff, and senior players will need to rally morale, instill belief, and foster a siege mentality, turning adversity into motivation. Clubs like Burnley and Brighton have, in recent years, demonstrated the power of unity and intelligent recruitment, managing to punch above their weight despite losing key players to bigger teams. Meanwhile, for Tottenham supporters, anticipation is mixed with anxiety. The Premier League is littered with examples of expensive signings who failed to deliver. Think of Angel Di Maria at Manchester United or Fernando Torres at Chelsea. The pressure on Gibbs-White will be immense. Every touch, every goal, every missed opportunity will be scrutinized. Success could make him a club legend. Failure could haunt his career. There are financial implications to consider as well. Tottenham's wage bill, now at roughly £120 million per year, must be balanced against the need for further investment. Champions League qualification brings rich rewards, but missing out could force tough decisions in future transfer windows. For Forest, the £60 million received for Gibbs-White could be a lifeline, but only if spent wisely. Expert voices offer a range of perspectives. Jamie Carragher believes that Tottenham should revolve their play around Gibbs-White, allowing him the freedom to dictate games. Alan Shearer warns of the perils of becoming a selling club, pointing to Sunderland's struggles as a cautionary example. Gary Neville sees the move as a turning point for Tottenham's midfield, while David Ornstein highlights the efficiency and intent shown by Thomas Frank and the Tottenham board. Mark Lawrenson's advice to Forest to reinvest with care echoes the lessons of clubs like Swansea and Hull City, both of whom suffered after failing to replace key players. One cannot overlook the broader context of financial fair play regulations and the growing pressure on clubs to balance ambition with sustainability. The Premier League's new cost controls, introduced after years of spiraling losses, mean that both Tottenham and Forest must carefully manage wage bills and transfer outlays. For Forest, the sale of Gibbs-White may have been as much a necessity as a choice, given their net spend of around £250 million since promotion. The psychological ripple effect extends beyond the clubs directly involved. For other Premier League sides, the deal serves as a reminder of the ever-shifting power dynamics in English football. Clubs like West Ham, Crystal Palace, and even Aston Villa will be watching closely, gauging how Forest respond and whether Tottenham's gamble pays off. In the Championship, Ambitious sides eye promotion with a mixture of hope and trepidation, knowing that building a squad capable of survival, and more, requires both shrewd spending and a bit of luck. So what lies ahead? If Forest can resist the urge to panic, if their recruitment team can unearth the next hidden gem, and if the club can foster a culture of resilience and ambition, they could emerge stronger from this setback. The coming months will be a stern test of leadership, strategy, and resolve. Next week, we will spotlight the brightest young talents in the championship and reveal which stars are already attracting interest from Premier League giants. Who will be the next big name to make the leap? You will not want to miss it. Until then, remember, in modern football, the only